Hey everyone! Alright, today's video is going to be over how to find the area of a circle. Your objective, you will be able to calculate the area of circles by the end of this video. So let's review the parts of a circle. A diameter is the distance across a circle and it goes through the center. And the radius goes from the center of a circle to an outer edge. Keep in mind that the diameter is twice the size of the radius. So the radius is half of the diameter, and if you have trouble keeping up with which is which, the radius is shorter, just like the word radius is shorter than the word diameter. Alright, so area of any figure is the number of square units that's enclosed inside of it. So with a circle, we're doing the same thing. We're just trying to figure out how many square units are inside of that circle. Now, here is the formula that we are going to use. A equals pi r squared. So obviously the A stands for the area. Pi, we have been using that. That's going to be 3.14. R is the radius. So whenever you're finding area, you have to have your radius. And then we have an exponent of 2, which is known as squared. That means you are multiplying a number by itself twice. So let's review that. If you have 3 squared, that means you're going to do 3 times 3. You're writing the number 3 2 times and then multiplying it together to get 9. So if you had 5 squared, since the exponent is 2, you write 5 2 times and multiply it together to get 25. Alright, in the last video we talked about how pi comes from the circumference of any circle divided by its diameter. So we are still going to use that today, and we are going to use the approximate value of 3.14. So we are going to find exact area and approximate area. Exact area means that we're going to leave our answers in terms of pi. So that means we just leave pi there and don't do anything with it. Approximate answers means we're going to say pi is 3.14 and we're actually going to do calculations with it. Alright, so example 1, find the area of the circle. So let's write down our formula. Area equals pi r squared. Now I'm actually going to find the approximate first, so I am going to use 3.14 and then we'll go back and do the exact. So on the circle, we do have a radius, and the radius equals 5 feet. So let's go ahead and plug in values. So area equals, pi is 3.14, the radius is 5, and we have to square the radius, so I have to make sure I put an exponent of 2 next to that radius of 5. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is 5 squared. 5 squared means 5 times 5, and that is 25. So that means we have 25 times 3.14, and that will give us the approximate area. So I am going to come over here to the left side of the page to work that out. 3.14 times 25. Alright, 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7, and 3 times 5 is 15. Put the placeholder. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. And now I'm simply going to add all of that together. I have 2 decimal places, so I should have 2 in the answer. So the approximate area would be 78.5 feet. And remember, these are square feet, so don't forget to put feet squared. Alright, now for the exact area. So let me start a new section for that. For the exact area, we're going to leave pi the same way. Okay, we're not going to do anything with it. Now the radius is 5, So then we have 5 squared. So the area equals pi, and 5 squared we know is 25. And then I'm just going to rewrite that to say 25 pi. So the exact area would be 25 pi. All right, example 2, find the area of the circle. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the formula. Area equals pi r squared. Now let's identify what we have on the circle. So here we actually have a diameter. We have a diameter of 30. But for area, we need a radius. So remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So the radius would be 15 centimeters. So the area equals, and I'm going to find approximate first, so I'm going to use 3.14. So we've got 3.14 as pi, and we are going to multiply that by the radius squared. So the radius is 15, and I've got to put that exponent of 2. So just like on the last problem, the first thing that you want to do is find the radius squared. Leave the 3.14 as your last step. So 15 squared, let's go ahead and work that out. All right, 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Put the placeholder, 5 times 1, and 1 times 1. And when we add that together, we get 225. So the area equals 3.14 times 225. All right, so I'm going to come back over here and work that part out. All right, so 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 3 times 5 is 15. Put a placeholder. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. And now that we're multiplying by a third number, we have to put 2 placeholders. Don't forget that. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. And now we're going to add all of that together. So we got 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 8 is 16. And we've got 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And 1 plus 6 is 7. And if you look at your original numbers, we have 2 decimal places total, so we should have 2 in the answer. So the approximate area of this circle would be 706.5 centimeters squared. Remember, it's squared because this is area. Okay, now let's find the exact area. So remember, for the exact area, we don't actually have to calculate with pi. So area equals pi times the radius squared. So that would be pi times 225. And we would simply rewrite that as 225 pi. All right, example 3, find the radius of the circle if the area is 50.24 inches squared. Okay, so here we are missing the radius. So we're not going to solve this exactly the same way. We kind of have to work backwards here. So it says the area is 50.24 inches squared. So again, I'm going to start out by writing the formula. Area equals pi r squared. So they gave us the area. The area is 50.24. And that's going to equal pi, which is 3.14, times the radius squared. Okay, so we don't know what the radius is, so we simply leave it as r. Now, this is just like a two-step equation. So we've got a variable and we've got an exponent. So we're going to leave those there for now. We want to isolate the variable. So we are going to have to divide by 3.14 on each side. Okay, that would become 1. So we are left with r squared. And 50.24 divided by 3.14 would actually be 16. And if you want to pause and work that out on your own, go ahead and do that. Okay, so 16 equals the radius squared. So that means that some number times itself equals 16. So now you have to think of your perfect squares. What number can be multiplied by itself to get 16? Well, if you are thinking 4, you are correct. So the radius in this situation would be 4 inches. Okay, now it is time for you to try. Pause the video and draw a picture of this circle that you see here, because when the question comes up in EduCanon, you won't see the picture. So take a moment to pause and draw this. Okay, now that you have your picture drawn, go ahead and answer your question on EduCanon. Make sure you show all your work and your notes, and bring your notes with you to class.